What is going on, guys? What's poppin'? So today we're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys Week 12 Thanksgiving Day matchup against the Washington football team. So very storied rivalry, and I love it when we come to head on Thanksgiving Day. It's always a great game. Now to get to the football game, and I guess to preview this, we have to go back to 3-4 weeks ago. It was 3 weeks ago the last time we met. And the Washington football team won, I believe it was 25-3. And they basically did their thing. What they're good at, they exploited. So we know that the Washington football team has a good secondary, and we know they have a very good defensive line. And, man, they didn't give Andy Dalton a chance. As a matter of fact, Andy Dalton suffered a concussion in that game. He was put on his back a lot. He was bad. I think he was like 10 for 19, no touchdowns, one interception. And Ben DiNucci went in there, and I think he fumbled twice as well. So he wasn't very good either. They stuffed the box. They beat Zeke at the line of scrimmage, so we weren't able to run the ball at all. And this was kind of at the heart of when the team was struggling the most. I think this game was like the week after we lost to the Browns by a lot. So we are a slightly different football team now than we were a few weeks ago, at least in my opinion. Now, does that mean we're better right now than Washington? I don't know. So we did play Kyle Allen in that game, and unfortunately Kyle Allen broke his ankle, a week or two later. So that sucks, but we will be playing against Alex Smith, and he's coming off of a major injury, major surgery. As a matter of fact, he barely survived infection and all that. So I think it took him over a year to recover. But we'll talk a little bit about him. We'll talk about how our team's changed. I think we can expect a lot of the same things. I mean, Alex Smith isn't a big drop-off from Kyle Allen, if he's a drop-off at all. But I do think we can exploit a couple things. So starting with our offense, for starters, our offensive line has definitely improved. And it's not just because guys are playing better. It's mostly just because we've moved around some guys. One, Terrence Steele isn't playing right tackle anymore. Two, Terrence Steele isn't playing right tackle anymore. I mean, that's the biggest thing, right? He was killing us out there, and it really hurt against Washington. Matter of fact, I don't even think Chase Young on that left side had a sack against us, although he definitely had some pressures. But, I mean, they had multiple sacks, and most of it came from that right side. And I do worry a little bit about Connor Williams on the left. But the offensive line has held up decent enough the past couple of weeks. I'm not telling you they've been great. But you put Zach Martin on at right tackle, and I think we can expect some decent things from Connor McGovern, depending on who he's going up against. Because he looked pretty good against Minnesota, but I know that Washington has some tough guys on that defensive line. And, I mean, they're like 4 people deep at defensive end and a few guys deep at defensive tackle. So they definitely have the talent there to match up with anybody on our offensive line. But either way, I do think one of the ways we struggled was not being able to establish the run because Zeke had nowhere to go. And a lot of that is because Terrence Steele. But one thing we started doing against the Steelers was running behind Zach Martin. Even can run behind not Connor McGovern, Connor Williams a little bit as well. But Connor Williams kind of excels in the run game. He's not very good at protecting the quarterback, but you can run behind him, and I think we'll definitely be running the ball to the right some. We saw a lot of success with that in Minnesota, and I think we could definitely see more at Washington, or at home versus Washington on Thanksgiving. I think this is going to be a close game. I think we'll do a better job at running the ball. I'm not sure if we're going to have a 100-yard day for Zeke, but historically, Zeke's been pretty decent against Washington, so I do expect him to have another solid day, and hopefully Tony Pollard will go out there and do his thing as well. I do think we could struggle some during the air. It wouldn't surprise me if Andy Dalton, as a matter of fact, it would surprise me if Andy Dalton doesn't throw an interception, but it wouldn't shock me if he throws, 2. Hopefully not more. But I wouldn't be shocked if it's a couple. What we got to do is we have to score a couple touchdowns, right? 3 points isn't cutting it against anybody. If we can hold Washington to under 30 points again, when really under 26 points again, like the last time, I think there's a decent chance we can put up few touchdowns, couple field goals here and there, and find a way to win. So it is encouraging to see that we only gave up 25 points last time because our defense was bad that leading up to the Steelers game. And our defense has improved, and we do have some injuries and some struggles for sure, but I don't think they're going to put up the yards in the air or on the ground that Minnesota did. Now, the last time we faced them, I know, God, who's the guy, the running back from Liberty, Antonio Gibson, the rookie, put up like 128 yards on maybe 20 carries and a touchdown. I know Peyton Barber had 30-something yards. J.D. McKissick had 30-something yards. I do think our run defense has improved since. As far as why, I don't know if I could really tell you. Adding Randy Gregory back has helped. He's been pretty good against the run. But other guys have just been playing better. Tyron Crawford, we've had a couple just better performances from him, although he doesn't play much against the run anyway. He's more of a pass rusher. But DeMarcus Lawrence has really stepped up over the past 3-4 weeks. Other guys, Antoine Woods, Neville Gallimore, Justin Hamilton plays a little, but he hasn't been great, that sort of thing. But I just think there's more effort on the defensive line as a whole. Another thing is I don't believe Van Der Esch played against Washington the last time we faced them, so that's huge. He came back, wasn't so great the first game he did play. Maybe it was against Washington. I don't really remember. But it took him a couple weeks to get acclimated. But last week, he looked really good, right? So that's a very good sign for the run. Also, Donovan Wilson. Those guys can get down, get some pressure, and help stuff the run, and also get some more pressure to Alex Smith. Now, I know pre-injury, Alex Smith was always a fairly athletic quarterback. He isn't fast, but he can beat you with his legs some, especially when you're dropping back into coverage and you're not sending much pressure. As far as post-injury, at 35 years old, I really don't know what he brings to the table there now. But so that'll be interesting to see, because I think if we can pressure him some and just slow down the run some, which I think we will. We held Dalvin Cook to 115 yards, and it's not like Dalvin Cook played a bad game. And 115 yards is never a bad game anyways. But most people are expecting 200 yards. And we just made him work for it. He had to earn all of his yards. So we make Antonio Gibson do that, and McKissick and Peyton Barber. And I don't think any of them will have a 100-yard day this time around. Like I said, Van Der Esch is back. We're playing Donovan Wilson at safety. We got a couple guys back at defensive back, but we also lost a couple guys since the last time we played them. So that kind of cancels each other out. And also the defensive line just playing with a little more effort. So that's what I think will be the difference defensively. Now, will we be able to beat them any through the air? I don't know. I feel like that was one of those games where we had some guys struggling. I'm trying to think of who. I mean, as of now, Michael Gallup's still been kind of struggling. He's hit or miss. He had a really hot start to the season, and he's been a little hot and cold since. CeeDee Lamb went through a little cold streak, like kind of midseason. I want to say Washington was one of those games where he didn't play too great, but I don't know that for a fact. I know Amari Cooper's really led the receiving group, and Lamb's been great since. So I do think one of those guys can step up and make some plays. Hopefully it's a game where Michael Gallup steps up, because you can't cover all three of them, right? You could shut down one of them, maybe two, but if the other guy steps up and makes some plays, then I think that'll be enough to get the job done. Also, our tight end group has been great. So as far as Dalton Schultz goes, Blake Bell, I expect him to make a couple plays here and there. Maybe Schultz will be good for another touchdown. I mean, he had the game-winning one last week. Now, the one thing that I do have to at least mention is because of the situation with the strength and conditioning coach passing away, that is one more practice that we're missing on a short week. So we played Sunday at 4:25, and we're turning around playing again Thursday, so that gives us Monday, Wednesday to prepare. So that's basically 2 days, and I'm sure we're not going to do too much the day before the game. And it's a Thanksgiving game. One of their coaches just passed away, so I'm sure the team's going to be a little emotional and probably a little emotionally drained right now. So, maybe physically wise, it doesn't hurt them to miss a day. As far as how that's going to affect them, who knows? I mean, I'm not going to sit here and speculate how they're going to handle a personal loss like that. But I will say on a short week, it's going to go one of two ways. Either we'll be more prepared because we just played, or we're going to be worn down and tired, which is a possibility because that was a close game in Minnesota. Right now we're traveling back home, which I think that'll play in our favor. But it'll just be interesting to see. On a little more positive note, we have had some great Thanksgiving Day moments, especially against Washington. So I'm really hoping this is another one. I mean, we know that missing Dak Prescott is the biggest thing that's hurt the team this year. At the same time, Washington isn't really starting what I would consider a legitimate starting caliber quarterback in the NFL at this point in his career. I mean, we got Alex Smith coming off a major injury. Hasn't played horrible, but he's just been average to below average, in my opinion, kind of like what you would expect from Andy Dalton. So I think you can kind of say that both quarterbacks are sort of even. If wouldn't be shocked if Dalton plays a little better, but you got to understand Alex Smith's going up against a secondary with Chidobe Awuzie, Jordan Lewis, and I want to say Anthony Brown was injured on Sunday, so I don't know if he's going to play or not. But we're going up against a much tougher secondary in Washington, and they also have some good safeties. Although Donovan Wilson's been stepping up too, so maybe our safety core isn't all that bad. I know Kyle Allen had 2 touchdowns and no interceptions last time we played them, so maybe Alex Smith won't pitch such a good game. You know, I think one of the reasons why they were going with Kyle Allen is because he was a Ron Rivera guy, and he was used to playing under Coach Ron Rivera, so they had that level of comfort there that Rivera may not have with Alex Smith, and not just comfort, but more so familiarity, right? So today, I'm not going to give a prediction. I think it's going to be a very tough game. I definitely see a path to victory, and I'm not as down on the team right now as I was 3 weeks ago. You know, they proved against the Steelers and against the Vikings that at the very least they do have a little bit of resilience, a little bit of heart. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm worried about that defensive tackle position. I'm worried about Jalen Smith at linebacker. I'm worried about the secondary. How much is Sean Lee going to play linebacker? You know, who knows? But let's hope we got a good game, and let's hope for a Cowboys win. Guys, outside of that, make sure you smash that subscribe button and you hit the notifications bell so you get a notification every time I post. And it's going to be mostly daily Dallas Cowboys content. Friday, I'm sure I'll have a post game. As a matter of fact, I might do that Thanksgiving after the game. We'll have to see. I'll be with some family, so might not get that up till the next day. But either way, Friday I'll have that. Saturday I'll probably have the weekly previews, that sort of thing. So guys, don't forget to like, comment. I'm out. Peace.